All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The Western Conference Finals are set to begin tonight, and we should be in store for a dandy as the Denver Nuggets are set to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. The Nuggets have been the best team in the West all season long, while the Lakers came on down the stretch following a bevy of trades before the trade deadline. And with that said, the Lakers had to come into the tournament via the play-in tournament. We're the 7th seed out west. I picked them to beat the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round, which they did. So that really wasn't an upset for me, even though it was a 7 taking down a 2. And then, of course, the clash for the Lakers in the Western Conference semis with the Golden State Warriors, as the Lakers were able to get the best of the defending NBA champions in 6 games. Now, of course, this is a rematch, if you want to call it a rematch, from 3 years ago in the NBA's playoff bubble in the Western Conference Finals, where then the Lakers beat the Nuggets in 6 games. But a lot of things have changed for both of these teams since then. But nonetheless, I think we should still be in store for a tremendous series. Now, the Nuggets overall are 0-4 in the Western Conference Finals all time. Their last 3 losses in the Western Conference Finals came against this Lakers franchise. Now, how will things be different for the Nuggets this time around versus the Lakers? Well, first and foremost, for Denver, Nikola Jokic has been playing out of this world. He is a 2-time NBA MVP, and he made a very compelling case to be a 3-time NBA MVP this year. However, that honor went to Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. But nonetheless, you look at Jokic's numbers throughout this postseason, and the man has basically been just like he was during the regular season, a walking triple double. Jokic's numbers have gone up in this postseason. He's averaging nearly 31 points per game, nearly 13 assists, and 13 rebounds, and just under 10 assists. You look at what Jokic did to the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference semis, and they simply did not have an answer for him. And that means in this one, the onus is going to be on Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm not talking about Anthony Davis like, he's just another guy. AD is one of the better players in the NBA, regardless of the position. Of course, the two biggest things for Anthony Davis are, can he stay healthy? And then also, which AD are we going to see? Since the postseason began, AD, for the most part, has played on that all-star caliber level, and the Lakers are going to need it again. It's going to be a great offensive battle. But of course, the edge for Anthony Davis is at the defensive end of the court because, Nikola Jokic is not a great defender. But I will say this: Anthony Davis is going to have his hands full with the Joker. And of course, when you think about the Joker, it's not just about what he does as a scorer, it's what he does on the boards and also as a passer, because we have really not seen the ability for a big man to facilitate like Jokic does. So that is something that this Lakers team is definitely going to have to account for. We saw Jamal Murray 3 years ago in the playoff bubble really make himself a household name. And now that Jamal Murray is healthy again, Jamal Murray is playing at that level once again for these Nuggets. He's averaging nearly 26 points per contest in this postseason, and this Lakers backcourt is definitely going to have their hands full. Denver is a much deeper team this time around. You have a healthy Michael Porter Jr. who can rebound and score. You have Aaron Gordon, who I think now is finally in the right position. And I say that because last year when the Nuggets lost in the playoffs to the Warriors, it was Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon as the second option did not work for the Nuggets. Of course, Michael Porter and Jamal Murray were out with injuries. But now that you have Gordon as that fourth option behind Murray and, of course, Porter Jr., things are a lot different. And I think Aaron Gordon showing his athleticism, his ability around the basket, both as a rebounder and a scorer. And I think that is definitely going to help the Nuggets' chances. Bruce Brown off of that bench has been instant offense for Denver. And then, of course, KCP. 3 years ago, KCP was on the Lakers team when they won the championship. This time around, KCP's obviously on the Nuggets, and he is providing an edge to this team. Another scorer, another slasher, but one of those gritty guys is willing to do a little bit of everything in order to win. Now, I talked about the Lakers' resurgence, and of course, they have been a different team since all of those trades just prior to the trade deadline. You still got LeBron and AD. And it's kind of like, you know what, pick your poison as far as who's going to do what to take this Laker team to the top. I talked about how, the matchup with AD and the Joker is going to be key, but it's also going to be key for the Lakers' other guys. And we saw them reign supreme against Memphis. We saw them, do their thing against Golden State. Can they do it against Denver? You think about D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and then, of course, Dennis Schroeder. It's going to be one of those where I'm going to give the size advantage in this series to the Nuggets. The perimeter, I'll tell you like this. I mean, if Jamal Murray gets going, the Lakers are definitely going to have a problem in this one. And then, of course, the coaching. You got Michael Malone going up against Darvin Ham. This is Darvin Ham's first time around as a head coach, of course, former assistant with the Milwaukee Bucks. So he knows a thing or two about winning a championship. And of course, Michael Malone, he's been there for so long for this Denver Nuggets team. He's gotten them to the Western Conference Finals before. He's one of the better coaches in the NBA. And I think on top of that, I think he is more of one of the most underappreciated head coaches in the NBA. So this series, I think, is going to come down to adjustments. Obviously, in the playoffs, who does what? You look at the Lakers; they have made it their business throughout this postseason to steal a game on the road. And LA has won game one on the road in both of their previous series. And then, of course, that momentum is carried over to the rest of the postseason. LA has not lost a game at home. And then, of course, Denver has not lost a game at home in these playoffs either. They took care of the Timberwolves in 5 games. They put the pressure on Minnesota right away by winning the first three. Then, of course, they took the first two at home against Phoenix, lost the next two, and came back and won the last two. So it's going to be interesting to see which style is going to play out in this one. Of course, the question is going to be who has the edge. And I'm going to say it's a toss up. And the reason why I say that it's a toss up, you look at the championship experience and the championship medal of the Lakers with LeBron James and AD, especially with LeBron James. You're talking about a guy, four-time NBA champion. He's been to the NBA Finals 10 times, four-time league MVP as well. The one thing I will say for the Nuggets this time around are the deeper and better team. And I'm going to give the slight edge to coaching to Michael Malone over Darvin Ham, just due to the fact that Michael Malone has a little bit more playoff experience under his belt as a head coach over Darvin Ham. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a tremendous series. I think the stars are going to do their part to get their respective teams to that next level, whether it be Nikola Jokic with Denver or whether it be LeBron and AD with the Lakers. But I will say this, for Denver's sake, the best thing that could have happened to them was Nikola Jokic not being named as the NBA's MVP. I think that has put an additional chip on his shoulder because it's kind of like, you know what? You didn't want to vote for me as NBA MVP. I'm going to show you a thing or two. And he's been hungry. This Nuggets team has been hungry. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to give Denver the slightest edges. I know it's a 1 versus a 7. You simply throw out the rule book at this point because some teams are better equipped for the postseason. We got a 7 still around in these playoffs, and we have an 8 seed in the East. So what does that tell you? But nonetheless, when it's all said and done, I'm going to give Denver the slightest of slight edges to get to their first NBA Finals in franchise history, as I'm going to pick them to beat the Lakers in 7 games. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.